Well, hey guys, welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, episode 9, I believe. Yep, episode 9. Before we get into it though, I would like to remind you guys, I would I would like to remind you guys to like, comment, share and subscribe the videos, to help the channel grow and all of that. And I'd like to remind you guys to be safe from wherever you're watching. And as all with that being said, let's get into it. When we last left off, we went to find Lilly in her classroom. Looking at my watch, it's no surprise it's getting pretty late. Need a hand? I offer a hand to Hanako, which she uses to get herself up. As she does, I can't help but glance at her wrist. If her scars extend even to there, just how much of her body was burned. I feel a pang of guilt about it. I feel a pang of guilt about it. However, she was quickly recovers her wrist with her other hand. Looks good, doesn't it? She looks surprised for a moment before noticing that I met the banner. It does, I guess. Her smile shows that she feels a slight sense of pride in the result, just as I do. With the floor significantly neater for the decorations being placed on the desk and shelves, it's much easier to get Lily as we cross the room. We finished the banner. I guess that's all that needs to be done? Lily gives an appreciative nod. Thank you, Hisao, Hanako. If there's any way I can help thank you, it's fine. Beats sitting in my room studying at any rate. I don't mind. I don't mind either. She nods before suddenly remembering one last person. Oh, is Kenji still here? Just as I open my mouth, Kenji gives the answer from the other side of the room. Yeah, just finished. He carefully slides his sign onto an empty section of a shelf to dry before quickly walking past us and out the door. See ya, man. Bye. The remaining two students say their goodbyes to Lily before taking their cue to leave as well, as leaving only the three of us. Well, I guess that's everyone. I hope we don't have to do anything like that again. Working past school time? Indeed, the class plans this year were ambitious. Maybe too ambitious. The stalls look nice though. She's right, it shows a lot of work's gone into them. My, I'm sure a lot of us would be glad to hear that at least. At least now there's not much work to do until the festival itself. Um, it's getting pretty late. Should we go? That's probably a good idea. Are you going back to the dorms as well, Hisao? Yeah, I guess I'll tag along. The nighttime lighting really makes the gardens look quite different. Compared to the usual look of lush greenery, things are much more calm. Being that it's so late, the lack of students around probably helps. The odd one or two can be seen scurrying from the dorms to the eek, the most out of their approaching curfews, but no more. All that can be heard is our footsteps in addition to Lily's cane regularly gently tapping the ground in front of her. It's nice to finally be able to relax a bit after a mad rush during school. Without even noticing it, I let out a small yawn. Tired? Yeah, still getting used to the flow of things, I guess. The thing with Shizune took me off guard, though. I grit my teeth a little at the candid mention of their rather public spat. That said, I do want to sort out what in the world behind it. Uh, about that, I'm sorry about it being so public. Shizune and I go back some ways. Her voice seems slightly irritated as she remembers Shizune, obviously unwilling to discuss it any further. I glanced to Hanako for her views on it, but her expression is unsurprisingly evasive and difficult to read. Either way, I guess her apologizing for it is something even my curiosity goes unanswered. I'll be glad once the festival is over in any case. The change of topic of topics welcome, clearing the thickening air quickly. I can imagine my old school's festivals were a lot more low key than this. Yamaku stresses the idea of a school community, so the staff likes to make our festivals as such special occasions, and yet the students are the ones who do the work. What an unfair world. Hanako and Lilly both chuckle in agreement, savoring the fact that none of the staff are around to hear our grumbling. I suppose coming from an all strict girls' school helped me a bit with Yamaku compared to there. Yamaku is more relaxed. That'd go a way towards explaining her well-bred speech and behavior in any case. As we come up to the dormitories, it eventually comes time to leave for our respective rooms. See you, Lily, Hanako. The both of us give polite nods before setting off to the women's dorms just next to the guys. As is to be expected of such arrangement, there's a staff member casually patrolling the around outside to prevent any nighttime shenanigans. Walking past him, I quickly stretch my arms and rub my neck, both quite sore after having worked on the floor for so long, before walking to my room. It feels good to actually have direction, though. After so long in the hospital, everyday facts of studying, homework, and teachers seem almost a blessing. I guess if things continue like this, my time at Yamaku might turn out okay. I'm feeling tired, so I set my alarm clock to wake up as late as I can afford, while still making the first class. Their nurse's voice is almost nagging at the back of my head about morning jogs. I make a resolution to make up for it by going for a walk after school tomorrow. Emmy won't care either way, I bet. I wake up and take a hot shower. Back in my room, the first thing I see a familiar row of medication bottles lined up on top of my dresser, and it makes me depressed as usual. It's annoying. I thought it was okay. I thought I had made my peace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did, I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of the reality, and trying to fight against it just hurts. Reflecting on it is only gonna do so much. I've done this before for months. It seems like it's time to get over it. If I allow myself to forget what my life is definitely not going to be as long as those of others, I won't get anywhere. My life may be different from others, but it's a life in progress. That's how I rationalize it. I downed the usual handful of pills, trying to rush the sudden dreary feeling of my head. Then I prepared to head out of class as early as usual. As I step out into the hallway, I notice Kenji coming around the hallway corner, stealthily making his way over to his own room with a large bag. As he sneaks past me soundlessly like a ninja hiding in plain sight, I call out to him, "Hey." He jumps at the sound of my voice. "Oh, hey, man. I didn't notice you were there. I'm really tired." I think it's more like you didn't see me, but that's not the case. Issue. Where have you been this early? Shopping? No, I wasn't shopping. Sometimes I have to visit the math teacher. Yeah, I figured it would be a good idea to find out when the next exam is, since he tells you in advance if you want. So what's in the bag? I thought I'd go shopping while I was outside. I need some supplies to continue the fight against the vast feminist conspiracy. Okay. I thought you didn't go outside. I wear a hat now. I decide not to point out that he's not wearing a hat. An awkward silence settles between us, and then Kenji breaks it by pushing his door open slowly, releasing a creaking sound into the air that only makes the moment seem more awkward. An awkward silence settles between us then. Kenji breaks it by pushing his door open more slowly, creaking around the air that only makes the moment seem more awkward. He sets the bag down inside his room and then closes the door. I'm surprised you went out on your way to find out a test date. Trying to take advantage of an opportunity to study is pretty diligent. I never study. Oh? I just wanted to know when the next test was. I'm still gonna take it. Duh. I still need to know what day I can't afford to skip class. He usually sends out updates on that crap by phone, so I had to step out and check up on it. And why do you have to go out when you can get it on your phone? I don't carry a phone. What do you mean you don't carry a phone? You mean you leave it at home? Nah, I don't use phones. I don't have phones. I have no phone. Why don't you have a phone? How can you not have a phone? No phone at all, no phone? I just don't like phones. Actually, I'm kind of scared of them. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of repressed trauma. But basically, whenever I hear a phone, I get nervous. It's my darkest secret. I have two theories on it. Either I have some fear of receiving some undefined, ominous, life-threatening doom call, or I was beaten with a phone in the past, beaten so badly I can't remember it. Beaten in the head? Well, where else would I get beaten with a phone that wouldn't be able to remember it? The ass? God damn! Unexpectedly logical. I feel very depressed now. Sensing this conversation is more or less over, Kenji opens the door and prepares to head inside. Yeah, I'm gonna sleep, dude. Have a good one. Class is gonna start in like 20 minutes. Oh boy. I already did something today. Too tired to go to school. Hey, you need some lip balm? I accidentally bought two because I thought the store had started selling individual AA batteries. Thanks, but no thanks. Whatever, man. He swiftly enters his lair, finally letting me go to class. For a change, I'm not among the first ones to come to morning class. Instead, almost everyone seems to be here already. I recognize most of my classmates by faces by now, though the names escape me still. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get in the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days I was pretty high strung in class. Moto finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food. Everyone bursts out into laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I mean was more the remainder of his sentence was buried underneath the ring of launch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Moto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or so as crowded as hallways in this school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading for the cafeteria. Hisao, I'm gonna make you a one-time only, super extra special lunch offer. Emmy's homemade lunch boxes and the privilege of enjoying them in private with two bombshell beauties. Okay there, super ego. Her overly flirtatious sales pitch echoes in the hallway, remarkable feat since it's full of people. Emmy strikes a confident-looking pose, though, as in an attempt to one-up her own ridiculousness, and puffing her very modest chest up and making the V for victory sign with her hand. Sounds delicious. To what do I owe the honor of being invited? You stood there looking really lost and sad, so I thought you could use some company. That's probably the most depressing reason imaginable. So how about it? You're probably really lonely and would eat that awful cafeteria food all alone otherwise. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Sure, I'll have your lunch offer. With pleasure. Let's go to the roof. The roof? Why the roof? Because that's where we eat lunch. And if I don't get up there, then she'll probably wander off, and then I just know she'll go hungry because she never packs the lunch for herself. Who will? Come with me. Without answering my question or waiting for a response, she grabs me by the arm and drags me through the hallways. I attempt to make conversation along the way. Why do you have an extra lunch? Emmy smiles guiltily. Actually, it's yesterday's lunch. I slipped in a run at lunch and forgot to eat it. Huh? The stairway of the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door complete with a missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was who removed the lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Emmy flinches back, almost falling down the stairs. Hello. Eek! Yipes, you scared me, Rin. Wait, isn't she? Hello. Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Emmy. She is that friend of yours? Rin turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts only for a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited Hisao for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does this mean I don't get food, or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There is nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles of covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are rolling in pairs in the groups around the quadrangle at the end and the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, small town feels less very strongly. Almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of a big metropolis seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run and catch a bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine. Looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only one short year. Finding out about my illness, having to move away from home, all came so suddenly. I haven't had time to think how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower of the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on the bench with Rin in tow and produces one big and 2 small lunch boxes from her bag. Come on, Hisao, what are you waiting for? She's beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. I set myself on the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all three of us fit on it. Impressive view. Amy suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin and hands the other lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch, as promised. Homemade no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks, I make them myself when I can. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would probably be a good or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding around those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up at mouth half full and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite, which is great because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you lose it? Would you become a man? I nearly choke on my lunch, trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggle to think of a small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Rin seems less content to Rin seems content to let Emmy answer this question. Someone in the housing department thought we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Complement each other? Like shoes and a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Put us together and we got all four limbs. Get it? Ah. So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help somebody get dressed every morning and not get along. I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you've gotten no arms, so putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm gonna just stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. A conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise. Contented. Ah, that was good. She busies herself with cleaning up her lunch. Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk complete with pink color scheme, and keeps an equally pink box, some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw to the top of her box and begins to drink. Once again, I'm impressed by how flexible she is, but this time, I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around with their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So, Hisao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Emmy grins a thousand-watt grin, pleased by my response, I suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time, too, okay? I won't make you lunch, but you could bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mock offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve! She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I will just keep eating lunch all alone. I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen. As Emmy pouts, kidding, I was kidding. I love to eat lunch up here again. Good location and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I accepted her invitation. I guess that makes us friends now, or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat anymore, you're gonna fade away. Rin shrugs as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we'd better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for being something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of books I finished reading. Walking outside, I see there are about as many students as there were on Thursday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I borrowed into the return slot on the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging they make as they hit the trolley next to her. Sorry, Yuko. I didn't mean to startle you. No, that's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you? It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyways. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do. After reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. I wandered to the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over to the corner where Hanako had been last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come of it. Surprisingly, though, she's there, absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her last time and get back to finding reading material. After an indiscernible amount of time spent perusing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of a fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority left, presumably to their homes and dorms. I guess I need to buy some supplies. I can't live off cafeteria food eating out for my entire stay here. As I leave for the gate, I make a few loud stretches to try to stave off the tiredness that's accumulated over the week. After passing through the corner, though, I see a solitary figure walking downhill towards a small town below. The color of her hair and tapping of her cane are unmistakable. I quickly walk up to her, which seems to catch her attention without a word needing to be said. Hi, Lilly. She takes a moment to place the voice, slightly adjusting her head to face a bit more towards the source of my voice as she does. Hisao? Yep, that's me. She seems to have a good memory for voices. The fact that she actually remembered is a pleasant surprise. Good evening. Good evening. What brings you here? Once again, she gives a small, polite bow, and once again, I reply in kind before realizing that she needn't do so. Just going to town. You? My, what a coincidence. Doing the same thing, eh? I usually go shopping on Fridays. And with that, we've run out of time. But before I end things off, though, I'd like to remind you guys to like, comment, and share and subscribe to help our the channel growth out along more. And I'd also remind you guys to follow my socials. You can find them in the link in the description below. You could also join the Discord community, which is 100% free, which is also 100% free to join. You use it as a chance to not only talk to myself, because I respond to my DMs. If you DM me, I'll respond. Just like, and participate in such as other things. That being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.